Well, I already know that this video is going to be a spicy one. A Destiny player that has been playing Destiny since Destiny 1 first started and has played for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of Destiny, just digesting every expansion, season, all this lore, the game, mechanics just embedded in my brain. And now giving my thoughts on Warframe now that I've experienced a decent amount of Warframe, going through at least all the main quests, the main story. I still have a decent amount of the side stuff to still do, and of course I don't have a lot of the end game, quote unquote end game stuff going. I just started doing a lot of that. Like my goal is to start getting new Warframes, primes, weapons, whatever, just a lot of stuff. And I know that people are going to be asking me, okay, what do you think about Warframe when it comes to comparing Destiny? Now, for starters, when it comes to comparing Destiny and Warframe, they are pretty different. I know that they're both like looter shooters in a way. It's just they're very different to the point where it's like you're comparing like a car like to a plane or something. Like just like they're not the exact same vehicle. Like it's just they're very, very different, but also they have their similarities where a Destiny player could play Warframe like myself and be like, hey, I really like this. I have that familiar, feel from Destiny in this game, but then and vice versa with like a Warframe player going to Destiny, kind of getting that too, but you still are like, wow, this is different. So with that being said, this is going to be pretty tough to make those comparisons because there's some things that obviously I will be choosing over Warframe for Destiny, and there also will be some stuff that obviously it's going to be like a lot of like back and forth where it's just really difficult for me to really just narrow down 100% this is how I feel, like what do I like more. But I really like Warframe. I originally played a tiny bit when it first kind of came out. I remember when I tried Destiny 1 when it first came out, I wasn't really fully on board at first, and I was just kind of like, what else is there? And I did enjoy Borderlands and stuff, so I was like trying to get that looter shooter itch, and I tried Warframe, but I remember when I first played it, it was just not, it just didn't feel good. And I just was really struggling to understand what I was supposed to do in the game. And it's crazy that I can remember that feeling, and then playing Warframe like now, it's so different. Like they've made so many quality of life improvements through the years, and just how they've upgraded, how they pursue their storytelling is amazing. And so many things that they've added to the game to the point where Warframe is just a lot of things. It's not just a third-person looter shooter like game. Like there's so much more. So I really do like Warframe. I will say right here that I am an individual that I'm like, why not both? Like I want both to exist, Destiny and Warframe. There are things that obviously Destiny needs to do way better. And I feel like Warframe is definitely doing way better on consistency when it comes to content and like where things are going. But yeah, let's kind of talk about stuff. I'll talk about gameplay, things like activities or whatever. I'll talk about story. We'll talk about that towards like maybe the end. But for starters, when it comes to the looter shooter aspect, the big one. Now this one is a tough one because when I play Destiny, I love the loot. I really, really do enjoy the loot in Destiny. There's so many exotics that have unique stuff to them. When I get so excited when I get the specific role that I want. It's just that vibe is very nice. But then come along Warframe, and they have loot where it's like that same feeling as Destiny, but there is no limit on how ridiculously powerful your loot can turn into. in Warframe compared to Destiny. Destiny is more focused on a balanced looter shooter experience. They don't want you to just be able to one shot like a raid boss or anything like that, because then the challenge is not really there. Like it's a different mindset when it comes to Destiny. Destiny is not there to make you completely OP, but they do have that power fantasy even just to your loot. But there is a lot of issues when it comes to Destiny that loot just kind of feels the same for certain like weapons and archetypes, where even the perks itself doesn't really change that much. And obviously they balance things. Like there'll be something that's a meta for one season and then next it's not. While Warframe, they're just like, yeah, if you want to just destroy like 500 enemies right in front of you in like 2 seconds, you can do that. It's just, you got to work towards it, but you can do it. Like, this is why this one's tough, because I love the idea of just super duper overpowered and being able to get to that point. Like, I like the feel of a game where I can get to that power fantasy. Like, I can become this ridiculously OP character, and whether it be from my weapons to my Warframe or both or whatever, and just have these ridiculous like setups. I love that. But at the same time, I do like Destiny where they kind of balance it out, where there's more, like, I have to think more. I have to, when it comes to the raids and so on. So when it comes to the loot and how, like, the loot grinds go, I feel like they kind of tie here for me. Like, I like both. I genuinely feel like they both do a pretty good job. I feel like Warframe, I kind of lean more towards that, because I'm an individual that's just like, look at all the numbers. Like, whenever I play Destiny, I love, like, for example, I'll use like Gyre Falcons, the chess piece for the hunter, where I get volatile rounds a lot, and I love to see just the purple explosions everywhere, and I'm getting over shields constantly because I repulsor brace on a weapon, and I have so much fun. And then I do like the strand thing, and I'm just having threadlings everywhere. It just looks like little tiny green guinea pigs everywhere. Like, I love that. And then Warframe, it's that, but times a million. And I haven't gotten to that point where I have like a insane amount of stuff going on the screen, but I've seen some clips, and I'm like, I want to do that. That looks like fun. My computer may explode, but I want to do that. Like, and I just been having so much fun with like the idea of that. So it's tough. I feel like, because I like the whole super power fantasy stuff, I think that I lean more towards Warframe on this one. But I still am like, yeah, I like the balance that Destiny does as well. It makes sense for that game, whatever. Now, when it comes to activities, we might as well talk about that. Activities, and then I'll talk about like, the characters, like, Warframes versus like Guardians and stuff. But when it comes to activities, this one is tough because Warframe has so much variety, and I love that. Like, they have ship battles. You got apparently they got a Mario Kart thing, which I haven't got to experience yet, as of this recording. And they have like all these like different modes. Every like 1999 has like its unique modes, while like they have patrol, stuff. You got fishing. Like, you got so much stuff inside of Warframe, and this one is just, it stings, because I really want to say, because Warframe has all that variety, that I love that more. But I gotta say, I love raids and dungeons, and like the activities in Destiny at times I do enjoy. Granted, though, they've been really, really doing a bad job with some of the stuff that they've been doing, like battlegrounds in Destiny. I hate those things. I miss strikes. But at the same time, I love the raids. I love the dungeons. I love like this like cinematic, over the top like experience of like with the music, the bosses, the just each encounter being unique in a dungeon or raid. I love those things. PvP is it's sort of enjoyable at times in Destiny. It really kind of depends on what the meta is at the moment. And right now, I'm not really enjoying Destiny's meta. when it comes to PvP. But then you have, like, at the moment, Destiny is experimenting with, like, tanks versus Brigs, and I really hope they continue to do this, and to the point where we have big team battle again, and I love that. I really enjoy that. I miss Sparrow Racing. That's one of the things that I wish that Destiny would invest in way more. It's kind of disgusting that the mobile game version of Destiny is going to have it day one. And it's like, why? Why can't we have it in Destiny? Like the main game, not the mobile one. It's just, yeah, it just sucks. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I love Warframe's activities because you could just turn off your brain and play. Like, there's not really much of a thought process, which I do enjoy that. It's just good fun. You can just play with your friends and just do whatever. I love, like, just a lot of things that go hand to hand, from the Warframes, the loot, and so on when it comes to these activities. And just the again, when it comes to the loot grinds, like being able to get upgrades, for example, for your ship, you know, for the ship battle mode. And you have the roguelike mode that I really, really enjoy as well. Like, I know Destiny is experimenting with the Nether, and I do enjoy the Nether as well. Like, it's just, I think it's just more aligns just how Destiny does that, like, balance, where there is more of a thought process of what you're doing in that activity versus just, you know, turn off your brain entirely, like, it depending on the difficulty. But I don't know, I feel like I still am like, yeah, Destiny does have more of an interest for me when it comes to that. Again, all the things that I say that are, like, negative about Destiny or Warframe is me more or less just being like, yeah, but I still love these games. So don't take it as, like, I'm like, oh yeah, Destiny or Warframe sucks because they don't have this or whatever. It's just, I'm trying to make, I know that people want to know my thoughts on this kind of stuff, so I'm trying my best to be very fair here. But I'm not saying the activities are the worst when it comes to Warframe. Far from it. And I love the variety. I love the different enemies as well. Again, the patrol stuff that they do, they do patrol way better in Warframe than Destiny. To this day, I'm so disappointed on how they really just dropped the ball on the patrol system for Destiny. Like, they are apparently doing world tiers finally for you know, the first expansion, which hopefully that means they'll do that more often. And I would like to see them do that with the previous patrols. Like, don't just leave those in the dust. But anyways, that's kind of how I feel with that. Now, Guardians versus Warframes. Listen, this one's an obvious choice. Warframes. There's so many. Like, yes, you got the Titan, you got the Hunter, and you got the Warlock, and then you have those unique subclasses that would essentially be different, like, Warframes. But every Warframe has so many, like, insane stuff that makes them different from the other ones that you have. And I only have, like, I would say maybe around 12 or 10 of them. And every single one is really fun. I've been spending way too much time on Grendel because I love the idea of just rolling up in a ball and going so fast and just eating all the enemies. Like, it's just that character. I thought, okay, I found peak. And then I found all these other Warframes, and I'm like, oh, this is really fun too. I like this. I like that. I like this. It's like, I love the Guardians. I love the build crafting, especially. Like, I have a lot of fun with that in Destiny. I think that build crafting in Destiny is one of the things that I do enjoy. You know, as like where it's like, okay, this kind of makes it in competition with Warframe, but then you take in consideration that, yes, you have this unique Warframe that has all these abilities, but then once you go into the grinds of getting all these mods and upgrades to the Warframe, even getting the mods that enhance the Warframe even further, like how I got Catapult for Grendel. Yeah, Warframe, insanely good. And you can do so much with your Warframe. Like, it's crazy. So, yes, of course, when it comes to the characters and differences, Warframe definitely wins on this. Like, if Destiny had, like, way more different, you know, subclasses and so on. I mean, one of the biggest disappointments that I still have with Destiny is Not that they haven't done like another brand new subclass. I'm not asking for like a red subclass right now. But what about another like stasis super for each character? Like what about another strand one? Like even just any of these. Like what like, and what if they were to do another arc, void, or solar? Like just do a third, or well, they already have 3, but like fourth, like a fourth one. Like it's just, it kind of disappoints me that they haven't done that yet, specifically like with stasis. Stasis has been around for a long time, and yes, they've added aspects and fragments to, you know, change those supers a little bit, but not enough where it's like this is a huge change versus, you know, like I said, a brand new super. You know, we have, for example, the Warlock with a roaming stasis super. How about they get a stasis super that is a one and done kind of super, like how you know, the Hunter has one where it's like they throw out the sickles and then it just does its thing. Like what if the Warlock gets something like that? Same thing with the Titan. But we still haven't seen that, which is, like I said, that's disappointing. I'm like waiting too long for new toys to play with when it comes to subclasses. So Warframe, you got a lot to play with, and there's so many Warframes, and obviously you have the primes as well, which are even better than the original Warframes. They play the same, but they're just like the shiny version. They got more to them in like stats. Like I love that. So yeah, Warframe. Now the next thing is when I will also say when it comes to the loot grinds, Warframe also does a way better job at like respecting your playtime. Like I could do anything in Warframe, and my time is worth it. From materials to those relics to hold on to like mods that I get, just anything and everything. And there's no limit. Like I can have credits, lots of them. I can have a lot of the just any of the materials. Like there's no limit. There are some that like for example those one crystal things that you get in the void, those ones will go away like every like 24 hours, like they'll half or something like that. That's to kind of like push players to still, you know, go and do activities rather than just sit on materials forever. So they do have that, but they're a lot more fair on that. Destiny has a insane problem with one, materials having worth, and also where like this again, the limits on Destiny with Glimmer, for example, is just so annoying. And on top of that, having the player and their playtime be respected. I spent at one instance, I spent 10 hours grinding the Nether on Expert, the hardest difficulty, and I never got a single Adept shiny. And I've been trying to get those because they have a unique origin trait that you can't get on the regular Adepts or the regular weapons, which is a origin trait that we've seen before. I believe it's called Runneth Over, which allows you to reload and get more ammo depending on how many people are around you. And if you're like doing like a raid or something like that, or you know, you have like a bunch of people around you, you'll get a lot of ammo. You know, I think it maxes out actually with like 2 players or 3. I don't know how that one goes, but it's just, you know, playtime is one of the biggest issues that I have with Destiny, and it's actually one of the reasons why I've been fatigued on playing too much Destiny, is because, you know, I love loot grinds, and I don't want to get handed out any, like, loot. I don't want that. Then it makes it boring. But 10 hours not to even get a single shiny Adept, that just feels like I'm being punished for enjoying your game. Like, this is exactly why I'm excited for Edge of Fate with this whole like armor upgrade, and you know, with the sets, and then also you have the tier 5 loot. But I'm like, yeah, but you still have no idea how to respect, you know, your players' playtime and do things right with you know, how loot drops. Like sometimes they do it good in some areas, but some others not so great. And Warframe always will respect your playtime at all times. And even if you don't get something, the next big thing, which Destiny doesn't even have at all, is the trading system. The social system also, we might as well transition into that from there, because, you know, trading and everything. Destiny does have a lot of good stuff with its social systems, like as a social game. You know, you have the in-game LFG with the, you know, experiencing stuff like raids with your friends or new players, or just, you know, people that you found through LFG, dungeons, etc. Like, just all these cool things. You have, obviously, the social spaces, but Warframe takes it a whole different level on just clans alone. I haven't really messed with it too much yet, but I do plan on, like, having a lot of you in the community be able to join the clan. And I've seen videos of other people's clans that have spent so much time decorating and working together to build the inside of the clan dojo, and it's so amazing. It's one of those things, again, where I'm like, where is this in Destiny? And the trading system, like, it's just, the community is more social, in my opinion, in Warframe versus Destiny. Like, there's no competition here. Like, it's Warframe just wins right away when it comes to that. So there's also that. Like, decorating as well. Like, when it comes to the fashion as well, Warframe also wins. Another win for Warframe. Clearly, you can change any color on your armor to even the color of your abilities, which I remember when I was like first started playing it, I was like, oh, so this character like is a fire character, so it's orange. What character is green? And then DeLoco was like telling me like, yes. I'm like, what do you mean yes? Yes. Like, what Warframe is green? Yes. Like, it has green abilities? Yes. And then I go to customize my character, and I am slammed in the face with all these menus, not in a bad way, but just the amount of customization that you can have to your individual Warframes, to your ship, to even your dog. Like, there's so many things that you can do with customization. And obviously, the big one that's really, really, like, you know, like, amazing about it is, again, you can change the color of your abilities. Just because it's a fire character doesn't mean you can't make it purple or green or blue or orange. Oh yeah, well, that's kind of what fire is, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just like, it's so amazing, and there's so many colors. It's not, you're not tied down to how like Destiny does it with their shaders. You have all these different options. And yes, I do like the customization in Destiny for sure. They have these unique shaders. They're especially moving towards more unique customization with, like, a lot of their new shaders have like animations to them, which I do like. And they also, with the tier 5 loot, they showed off, like, for example, there was a weapon for Solstice where it has like an ocean inside the weapon, and I'm like, that's really, really cool. But Warframe has like 5 million things that you can customize. So yeah, that is a big win for Warframe again. Now, I know this is a big topic as well, as like, Warframe is free to play, while Destiny's free to play is really just free to try. Like, I've to this day hate that Destiny went free to play, because I said that because of how Bungie's mindset is, where if they don't make direct money through whatever that they work on, they're not going to put that much effort to it, depending. What I mean by this is, I feel like the reason why we haven't seen Crucible maps or any Gambit stuff or strikes in Destiny is because they made those areas free to play. And it just sucks, because again, overall, the game is more free to try. If you go to try and play Destiny without having any of the expansions, it's just not even worth it at that point. Like, yes, you have some of the free experiences to do, like the events, and I think some of the seasonal activity stuff, but for the most part, you're getting nothing out of it unless you spend money. So I really don't know why they do that. But Warframe being free to play, I've never felt like the game was telling me, hey, you have to spend money. If anything, they make their grinds so fair where it's actually ridiculous that you spend money on a Warframe or materials or whatever. If anything, the main things that I care about, you know, spending money on Warframe is number 1, the fashion, number 2, the fashion, and number 3, probably some boosters, like for more like credits or, you know, reputation, because I need that XP or what is it, affinity, to level up my weapons and stuff. But other than that, that's it. Like, it's just one of those things where I actually feel like I really don't feel the free to play model. Like normally a free to play game, you see the monetization and it's heavy. Like if you don't spend money, you're going to not get things unless you spend 20 hours on this game or something like that. I don't feel that with Warframe. Like I was getting a prime character within like 6 hours of gameplay, and that's essentially getting like a huge exotic. So that's, yeah. And you can buy primes, but why? It's like $70 or something like that. It's like, why? And I'm not saying that you can't do that. I even spent money on some Warframes and stuff, which that's pretty much like the no in the Warframe community. And actually one of the reasons why, going back to like the trading, is that some people will just give you the parts. If you want to give them platinum, they won't overcharge you. They won't be like, hey, give me $20. Like they'll be fair about it and stuff. Like the whole economy in the game is really, really nice. And you know, the devs over at Warframe are super cool about this. Like they don't try and, like, you don't feel this corporate kind of mindset on this game. You have this mindset of, yeah, we want to more lines focus on the cosmetic approach more than ever, and you know, trying to build a healthy you know, community between the devs and the players. And that's amazing. And that's the other thing I'll talk about. Destiny versus Warframe on the connection of the community and the players. This one is rough because Destiny has had its moments where they do a great job connecting with the community, and even more recently they've been doing relatively good on responding to feedback and so on. But they have also made horrible decisions, and they basically told their community, tough. A good example is the Destiny content vault. Nobody wanted that, and we were told, well, we have to do it anyways because the game is not going to run well. Meanwhile, the game still doesn't run well. Like these are things that led to a lot of just distrust on Bungie, and it sucks because I know that there's devs that work at Bungie that genuinely want the game to be amazing, and they have all this passion, but you have all these corporate higher-ups that all they think about is money instead of like creativity and innovations, and they hinder those devs. So you feel that when it comes to Destiny. Warframe, I don't. I feel like like even just watching the dev streams of Warframe, they're laughing about like some of the things that they mess with while, you know, working on the game, like showing, you know, a character making out with a motorcycle or something, like, or you get to play as the motorcycle, or like they just mess with like so many things that honestly, if I was a dev, those would be things I would love to just do. And yet we sometimes see that with Destiny. I remember they showed a picture of a giant Screeb standing up, and that was horrifying to see. Like, there's been things that Destiny has done as well over at Bungie, but not to the same level as Warframe. Warframe is a more like connection of the dev to the Warframe community, to the player, to the consumer. It's amazing. I feel that energy. When it comes to Bungie, I don't feel it as often. Sometimes I do, especially when they do their reveals and they sit down on their couches and they have these devs like talk about their excitements for what's to come and stuff. But it's just not at the same level as Warframe does. So, yep, Warframe again. When it comes to community comparisons, listen, after playing Warframe and having a, this kind of, way of me playing, like, I play games differently than obviously a lot of you. And it's no disrespect to the game or anything, but I will say this. I feel like when it comes to toxicity, both of y'all have your ends of, like, hey, this is the part of, like, we don't associate with these toxic people. Like, they don't represent this game in its community. Like, Destiny has that as well. And I feel like Destiny definitely has it more because of the whole, like, basically, like, just here's a good example. Just saying this. Must have Gallowhorn. Stuff like this. Like, back in D1. It's still a thing to this day. You go and do a raid or dungeon, and you have people fighting. You have people that just argue, and so much toxicity. While Warframe, because it doesn't have a lot of those, like, you got to be very, very good and know all these mechanics. It's a lot less that. But there's still toxicity in both. And but I love both communities. And when it comes to the best parts of the communities, they're both amazing. I can't really make those kind of comparisons. Honestly, for both of you, Warframe and Destiny, step aside. The most positive and most welcoming community, and I mean this, is Fallout 76. Go ahead, make a new character, walk out that door. I guarantee someone's gonna just show up that's level 600 or whatever and give you 900 stim packs and then, like, legendary gear or whatever. They have a donation box. The devs added a donation box at the front of the door. Like, it's I love Fallout 76 when it comes to its community. There is, like, PvP stuff, but nobody really messes with it. So it's mainly just PvE, and everyone is so welcoming. It's so nice. I love that. And Warframe kind of has that too, when you, especially with the social features like the clan and stuff, the trading. But I always feel like when it comes to toxicity levels, Fallout 76 is pretty much like at 0. I'm not saying it's perfect, because there's going to be some people, obviously, that are toxic, but oh man, I know I'm not trying to just now, we're not doing a Fallout 76 versus Destiny versus Warframe, but I'm just saying. But I do love the Warframe community. They've been pretty welcoming, but some of the comments that I've seen where people are, like, judging me for just having fun or playing with my friends, hey, you're not listening to the story. Like, those are things that I really don't understand why, like, people are like that when they're watching someone just genuinely having fun. Like, I am having fun with Warframe. In all those videos, I'm not, trying to make fun of it. But yeah, it's like those things. And it's the same thing with the Destiny community, Destiny's dead. Destiny's dead. Like, and it's so funny that the most toxic people of Destiny are the people who just can't let go of the game. Like, they just, it's just all over the place. And I don't know if I'm leaving out any other, like, main topics that I could talk about. I mean, I could talk about the art direction, which I think that because pretty much everything in Warframe is more procedural generated. Destiny does a great job with its art direction, especially. I will say that does way better. When it comes to enemies and bosses, yeah, Destiny wins. I'm sorry. Like, this is where I now lead into the story, and because I might as well go into story if we're going to talk about bosses and stuff. Listen, going back to, I'm going to get comment after comment of people, but can we have a level-headed, moment together, okay, Warframe community? Can we do that? Please? The Warframe story is indeed harder to grasp than Destiny's. And that doesn't necessarily mean the story is bad, but Warframe is more of a, like, overall world building where it goes into different directions rather than a more linear kind of focus for every story. And again, that's not a bad thing because I'm insanely hyped about the future of Warframe's story after finishing 1999, and I have a lot to do still in 1999 to get the basically the good ending with, you know, working on relationships and stuff like that. Like I know that. But when it comes to Destiny, if I were to like just reset my brain and go through Destiny from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, granted though, because the Red War campaign is gone, this would be a lot tougher. But for the most part, I know exactly what's happening. The game really does a great job in the dialogue, the gameplay, just what you're seeing, to really explain what is happening, and you kind of know where the end goal is going to go. Like, just the final shape expansion in general. Like, we knew how this was going to go for many, many years. Like, we're gonna have these pyramid ships, this big bad, whoever they are, that's going to try and go after us and the Traveler. We knew this, and we knew that we were going to have this big epic battle with this whoever it was, which was the Witness. And like, there was so much to the game in many different like directions of story, even when they go off to like different storylines with like Aramis and you know, even just like just doing like the Sepix Prime strike, the very first strike in Destiny 1. The game does a great job to explain why this boss is very impactful in the overall main story, because Sepix was a big bad. And you learn about like the Fallen rely on these servitors to keep them alive. And it becomes like a domino effect when it comes to like a lot of these bosses, because then you have, you know, Aramis and Axis, I believe that's his name. I already forgot that Fallen's name, but you know, Axis, where it just was banished because just didn't like the whole relying on servitors, and went out to find Siva, and then revived Sepix as a Siva created thing. Like, and then you have Aramis that leads into like getting the darkness of stasis and trying to find ways that, like, there's so many things that it just connects, and you feel those connections. Warframe does a lot of wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff where I'm so lost a lot of the times, where if I don't read and really 100%, and where to the point, this is why I was like trying to explain this to people where they were like, can you just shut up and listen to the story? I'm like, if I did, I would not have to, it would just be gameplay. You would never get a reaction out of me, because the game, even when I was rewatching a lot of like the cutscenes and stuff, I'm still like, I really need to like understand every little detail of different like terms, different characters, and where they came from, and so on, and who's this person, what, like, you know, what's the paradox, like, how did that, you know, get formed? There's like, you can't sit here and say it's super duper easy to grasp, because I'm sitting here and I do remember I was confused when Destiny 1 came out, but I love the idea of mystery of like these new like enemies, like the Hive, what are they, you know, the Fallen. But the game, as it progressed, did a good job to start giving you like more of a linear understanding. Like, you knew about Crota. When you defeated Crota, you knew that, oh, there's his dad is going to be coming. And then when Taken King got announced, we were all like, oh my god, we know this big bad boss. And then when we took out Oryx, we knew that Oryx had siblings. And then we led to, now we have Savathun and Xivu. And it's just, these are things that we just grasp very easily, because the game does a really good job, not just like holding your hand. It's not like they dumb everything down, but it's very linear for the most part. Like, it's not like they obviously branch in different directions with like the different you know, the races, like the Lixni and Hive and Vex and stuff, but you know, they do a great job of also making things confusing to keep the mystery. Like, for example, the Nine, which that's our next saga going into Destiny. So this is going to be another where, you know, we're gonna start understanding now this. And it's like almost like it feels like, at least I hope so, it feels like it's going back to the Destiny 1 roots, because we had that mystery of the light in the dark, and who's like the big bad, like what caused the collapse and all this stuff. And then we start to learn about the pyramid ships and the witness and all this stuff. Like a lot of these things were just very easy for me to grasp, even when I was talking ridiculously over everything. Like when I was playing through the Destiny 2 campaigns, I knew what was happening. I think the only time that I was a bit confused was Shadowkeep's ending, but I like afterwards I was like, okay, let me kind of grasp this a little bit more. Why was myself talking to me? And I was like, oh wait, that's the witness talking to us. Or well, at the time it was like this mysterious entity or whatever that is sided with the darkness trying to communicate with us. So when it comes to Warframe, though, I'm lost. Every single campaign, for the most part, except for the what was it, the New War or whatever, that epic battle, like that campaign was phenomenal, and it did a really good job on like just making it pretty easy to understand. Okay, Ballas is the big bad, and he basically made everyone be under like just one mind. Like everyone's in control of Ballas is in control of everyone. Like the whole soul system is just taken over. Like it really showed how like intense this big bad was. It felt like the Oryx of or the Witness, actually it felt like, of Warframe to me. That was good. But there was a lot of all these other storylines that was tough, but some of them were not. Like the most emotional one with with Shadow and Jade, like that one was pretty straightforward for me to kind of understand. Obviously the major details of like how did Shadow come to be, and same thing with Jade, like those are things I'll have to like read into, and I don't really like doing that. I don't really like doing a lot of reading. I mean, I didn't like that about Destiny 1 especially. Like the grimoire after grimoire. That's why I was happy that after the first year of Destiny, they started to really pick up the narrative for Destiny again. So I'm not saying that Warframe's story is bad. Actually, making it very mysterious is very good, because I like that about Destiny. But it also makes it very confusing for me, but not in a way where it's bad. Like a good example of where confusing is bad is Lightfall in Destiny. The Veil, they didn't explain anything about that, and on top of that, like they like said we lost, and we didn't understand how, like how did we lose, like what happened. All we saw was the Witness going to the Traveler. What happened? Like nothing is happening. Like it wasn't until like the next season or whatever they finally started to explain the Veil and explain the Witness, especially too, because they didn't even explain the Witness. Like why Witness? Why are you the way you are? Why Cloudhead? Like it was just so difficult. And like that's why I said there's been moments where Destiny's storytelling has been bad. I feel like Nezarec was like the perfect example of like a lit down of the entire, like it was like a huge effect, like an explosion that expanded with Lightfall on how many bad like just decisions on storytelling went. And like it just was one after another with Lightfall. It was so disappointing, from Callus to the characters of Neomuna, to Nezarec, to the Witness, to the Veil, to all this stuff is just way too confusing and just badly written. It was clearly rushed. Meanwhile, playing through 1999 and stuff, I'm confused, but I'm having a blast, and I'm so curious about the future of like the man in the wall, all that stuff. Like, and I've seen the comments from all of you that are being cool, by the way, helping instead of just being jerks. Yeah, you jerks in the comments. You're just not listening and you don't understand anything because you're stupid, which you are correct. I am stupid. But at the same time, I'm being realistic. I've played so many games, and I've played games where I am completely new to its universe. And I'm able to grasp those stories better than Warframe, and sometimes worse, depending on how the game does its approach of storytelling. Like, actually, a good example, Space Marine. I never invested time into Warhammer and understanding Warhammer. And playing Space Marine 2, it was pretty easy for me to go, oh, that's just how it is. This is this, whatever. And the game really does, like, explain a lot of these things pretty well. And, yeah, so I don't think that Warframe's doing a bad job on their storytelling. It's just that they're doing more of a expansive storytelling rather than you know where this direction is going. It's just the, and again, going back to when I was saying the bosses, when I was playing Warframe and we were doing those like different bosses, I never really felt like they had a impact in the story, like the Jackal or even the mushroom dude or whatever. Even Unreal Engine Mickey Mouse. I have my own names to them, I know, because I forget their actual like names. I know that one of them is Captain Vor or whatever, but I never was like, oh man, I understand the impact of these characters, these enemies, and how much of an impact they are in the story. Like I play through, you know, any of these like strikes in Destiny, and I know the impact of these characters, even like going all the way back, like I said, the Destiny 1 to like Sepix Prime to Volastar Auric. I mean, I like these, even the Scion Flares, like just knowing all the, like, okay, I know why these enemies are like very important to the story because the game is telling you, and it just kind of like just falls into place. Like I said, more like linear into it. So I feel like when it comes to comparing the stories, I genuinely like both a lot. I like Warframe. It's so weird and just they do this whole, like I said, the timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly and weird stuff that I like. And I really like that. That makes it unique and different from Destiny. But I will say this. Maybe because I've played so much Destiny, but I genuinely have more interest in Destiny's story. Granted, though, my mind would be a little bit different if we didn't know what this next, you know, expansion was going to be. Because, yeah, when Destiny 2 Final Shape came out, story fell on its face. Meanwhile, Warframe is like, we're still running. Like, it's crazy that I get on Warframe and we did the most recent story stuff. And I'm like, wow, they're still going. As in, like, they still have, like, more. Like it's just because we took, you know, dealt with Ballas, that's just scratching the surface. There's way more. Clearly way more. And they'll have even more even after the more. Like, I don't feel that fatigue in story versus I did with Destiny. But now, after the announcement of our new saga, which that was why I was like, the recent episodes just felt like just nothing. Except for maybe the most recent one was actually leading it into something. Had a little bit of a disappointing ending for the most part on what they did. But the overall, like, episodes were just meh. And I was worried that this whole new, like, you know, splitting the expansions into two, I was like, is this more lines more filler until we move into, like, the next chapter? Like, Destiny was running into the Marvel issue, if you know what I mean. What's the, like, the best way I can explain it is when Endgame, when they defeated Thanos, when that ended, a lot of people's interest, including myself, for the Marvel movies also disappeared. Because we were like, well, we defeated Thanos. What else is there? And, like, they're doing a bad job introducing these new characters that essentially are going to be the new Avengers when they just keep throwing out so much stuff way too quickly instead of investing into this next chapter. And I know that in Destiny, it was confirmed, like, this is why, like, the storytelling is just so interesting. Even when you're doing the raid and you have the witness say, you know, you call me Winnower when I'm not. I am just the knife. Like, I'm not the knife. Like, I'm well, yeah, basically I'm basically just the lower tier on the scary level of like doomsday level of scary stuff. Confirming that there is a higher evil out there somewhere. We don't know who it is. So that at least like gave us a confirmation. Okay, so we're not done. And when we understand like witnesses like motives of what they wanted to do with the world, with the whole universe, I mean, by combining, you know, the veil with the traveler and the witness being able to, you know, do what they were doing. That's why they were talking about salvation. Like, those were things that made sense of like, okay, this is why this is a villain. But now that villain's gone, it's like, we don't feel it. Even though we know there's obviously more of a big bad, there's no buildup anymore. Like, you got to start over. Until they announced Edge of Fate, and they announced that, yes, this splitting of expansions is not just more filler till we get to that next big chapter of, like, big bad. No, we're going into the 9 kind of storytelling, and the 9 is a huge mystery. Like, that's where I'm like, okay, now you grabbed me again. Like, I was a little bit worried, but I'm not saying that the story is going to be phenomenal. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm very curious on how it turns out. But at least for me, Warframe, I still feel like I'm more confident that that story has got more in store that will keep it going and will keep my interest. I'll never be like, oh, like I did with some of these episodes with Destiny recently. But overall, when it comes to the story, I do still really think that Destiny's universe is just more for me. Again, that's not me saying Warframe's bad. I would say Warframe is still very, very close. And I feel like if I invest way, way more, maybe that feeling will definitely change. But again, like I can't, you know, just say this enough, that for a new player going into this universe, it is definitely tough to grasp. And I've been hearing from other more level-headed, you know, reactions of other people who are more, you know, willing to, like, yeah, you know, be fair. They have said the same thing, that yes, Warframe is more expansive and it's tougher to really understand when you first go through it. And it is one of those games where you do need to take a bit more time to do homework, essentially. And Destiny was kind of like that at first with the Grimoire and such, but they've gotten way better. But for a new player, Destiny has done a lot better, in my opinion, on like trying to really grasp what's going on for the most part, other than deleting expansions. Again, I want to make that very clear. That was the dumbest move ever, because now people are like, what was the Red War campaign? What's this about? Cade? Who's Cade? What happened to him? What happened? What's going on? I don't understand this story. It just sucks. Like, even like just the mini expansions like Warmind and Curse of Osiris, like people are just like, I don't understand. Yeah, but I remember more names in Destiny, especially like villains, bosses. Like, I mean, like for example, when I mean, Tannix is a prime example where he just keeps coming back. He's like Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's, but I know the name every single time. And like, it just, a lot of these things, like, I don't know, the different, like whenever they introduce like a new enemy, a new name, I instantly grasp it in Destiny for the most part. While Warframe, I'm like, I don't know. Like, again, not saying the story's bad. I just said a million other things that were amazing about Warframe. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, 100% this game is better and this game stinks of farts. They're both amazing. Like I said, it's like comparing, like, it's like, oh man, my brand of car is amazing. And then the next person, like, my brand of car is great too. And they're like, that's a plane. Like, that's not a car. Like, they're two different things. Yes, they have, you know, they got engines, they go vroom vroom sort of, and they got a steering wheel and sort of, and whatever, and you got a radio, but there's a lot of things that are different about them. So comparing them is just really ridiculous for the most part, but I know that people wanted to know my thoughts, and here I am ranting for pretty much an hour. But I really, really wanted to get fully how I feel about both games, and I'm going to continue to play both. My entire life, though, is in shambles. I was once afraid of grass, but now grass is now like the scariest thing imaginable. I'm gonna have like nightmares about grass and going out to touch it because you know, trying to invest in Warframe and Destiny, ooh, and other games, because I love games and I got a lot of games that I want to play. It's not just that. So yeah, when it comes to content going forward, I know that I've been a lot more scarce on the Warframe stuff. The reason why is I wanted to ensure that when I was uploading a Warframe video, especially when going through a story, it was all there in one sitting. Like, just like, for example, the New War campaign was like 2 hours or something like that. 1999, I think, was like an hour. Like, those videos are lengthy, obviously, and they take me a long time to go through. When it comes to future content, if I'm making like 20-minute videos, I know I recently made like a 10-minute video of Warframe. Sometimes I'll do that, but it allows me to be more consistent of them too. So if you're like someone that's like waiting for the next Warframe content, fear not, I'm on the move. And when it comes to Destiny content, same thing. I just haven't been really doing a lot of editing, been dealing with technical issues, specifically on my computer, which is getting replaced, finally. But I plan a lot of content with both games, and when it comes to Warframe, I have a funniest moments that I'm also working on, of like just the biggest highlights of this entire journey so far. And I want to continue to do that just like I did with like Destiny, and I have that as well in the works. But yeah, I just love both games. I just am like, I want them both to exist in my gaming library, and I always want to go back to both of them whenever they have new stuff. And I'm excited that we have stuff right now. We have stuff in Destiny, and there's stuff even in Warframe. Like, they go hand to hand. Like, if I'm like, I'm done with Destiny for the day, or I'm done with Warframe, I can go to the other. That's that, you know, at the end of the day, you know who the winner is? Me. I got 2 games that I could love and switch to, you know? If one game gets a little bit then I got the other one. Boom. Easy as that. Anyways. Again, overall, that's my thoughts now. Who knows, like, as I continue to play Warframe for a year, multiple years, where my thoughts will go. Maybe I'll be like, yeah, Destiny is a joke, Warframe forever. But I'm an individual that likes to play multiple games. I don't like to be stuck with just one, which can lead to less time for myself. But I do enjoy, again, both games. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video, this very long video of just listening to me just talk a lot about both games. But yeah, like I said, I really look forward to playing both games more and sharing content with all of you and talking about my feelings about both games and stuff and whatever. But regardless, thank you so much for listening. Let me know in the comments down below, like, what do you like more, Warframe or Destiny? And like, how about like pick a thing for each game that you feel like does better. And if you have nothing for one or the other game and you just like everything on one game, then you could say that too. But like for example, you can say like Destiny, the raids and dungeons, Warframe, the power fantasy. Like, you know, choose like one thing for both games that you think that would be good. How about that? We'll put that in the comments. But leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this, and you know, me just talking for a whole hour. And again, thank you so much for listening. Hope you have a chibi-tastic day, night, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Chibi out.